Hi everyone, and welcome to video number 4. I'm going to be discussing 4 of the 8 nonverbal codes, and the 4 that I am going to be discussing and going further in depth with you are facial communication, physical appearance, artifacts, and paralanguage. So first I'm going to start out with facial communication. So facial communication is basically just expressions on the face that sends us messages. This is a definition that was given to me by the Interpersonal Communication Building Rewarding Relationships textbooks. And it also explained different important features of facial communication, such as eyebrows and how they move when you communicate, eyes, the nose, and also the lips. So there are 3 different functions of facial communication, and the first one is to display emotion. And there's an acronym for some different emotions that are often associated with facial communication, and that acronym is SADFISH. And SADFISH stands for S, sadness, A, anger, D, disgust, F, fear, I, interest, S, surprise, and H, happiness. So these are just a few emotions that are often displayed through facial communication. The second function of facial communication would be to supplement the verbal message or verbal communication. And an example of this given by the textbook would be present opening. So when your friend is opening a present that you got them, you can totally tell right away if they like it or not. Sometimes they could try to cover it up, like, oh, I really like it, but their facial communication kind of says otherwise. So I think that in this aspect, facial communication is really important and often stresses what an individual is truly feeling when they're opening their present, for example. And the third function of facial communication would be to complement the verbal message or the verbal communication. And examples of these would be raising eyebrows when you talk and opening eyes really wide. So like an example would be someone's like, oh, guess what I did today, versus guess what I did today. You can tell the difference between also the tone of voice, which is another subcategory of nonverbal communication, but you can just tell based on their facial communication that they're really excited in the second example versus the first one, oh, guess what I did today. And also an example that falls under this third category would be oculesics, which would be the study of the eye behavior. And this has been often very studied recently because different cultures use eye contact in different manners, which is also another reason why it's important to study and practice nonverbal communication. But the study of the eyes has been important to show because eye contact in America is considered polite, is considered engaging, where in Asia and Asian cultures, eye contact from a woman to a man, or even someone who is lower in authority to someone who is upper in authority, is considered disrespectful. So I think there's another reason of why studying different cultures is important. But oculesics basically is a very important part of facial communication because here in the United States we see eye contact and oculesics as something that is polite and something that is desired in the United States. So that's just a brief description of facial communication for you and why it's so important to nonverbal communication, because it helps us convey messages and show others what we are truly feeling even when our verbal message doesn't exactly match the nonverbal message. So it's very important to analyze facial communication when you're talking to someone to see how they truly feel and to see if their messages are valid verbally and non-verbally. So that is facial communication for you, and next I will be talking about physical appearance and why that is so important in nonverbal communication.